Don't miss the night, don't miss.
One in my hands, the 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 one in my hands.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Jezreel back with another video, and today we have the album review for Trippie Redd's first studio album, Life's a Trip. Trippie Redd, he's like 20 years old, out of Canton, Ohio. Had two mixtapes before this. You know Trippie Redd from all the 6ix9ine beats, Love Scars, Dark Knight Dumbo, everything like that. The 20-year-old artist from Canton, Ohio, has had two mixtapes before this, A Love Letter to You and A Love Letter to You 2. What's interesting about this, before getting to this project, A Love Letter to You and A Love Letter to You 2 and A Love Letter to You 2, compared to taking a Life's a Trip, is A Love Letter to You was more of more like a rapping, more of a singing type vibe, not much rapping, just mostly singing, and a melodic type vibe with like Love Scars, Romeo and Juliet, and other songs. And then we get into A Love Letter to You 2, where he probably the best, one of the best mixtapes that has probably been out right now. It's just has so many bangers like Bust Down, In Too Deep, so many songs, Can You Rap Like Me, and he just Trippie's known for being very versatile, and he shows it on his on the previous mixtapes that he's had, where he can switch it up from like a dark, melodic, sad, emotional type vibe, going into a more rapping style, and then getting to like flexing more of a trap type vibe. And really, Trippie is, you may not think so, but looking at his body of work, Trippie's mostly like a really emo, sad type rapper. You just don't think so, because the songs that have gotten big are not like that. But most of the songs that Trippie make, if you look from his all his mixtapes and other songs, they're mostly sad, emotional, emo type songs. Really, just getting into the depths of life and all the everything that's going on with it. And I feel like he really does talk about that in this new one, Life's a Trip. And there's about a good 10 songs on here. And this is really the whole body of work. It just goes from the intro to the outro, really just about that emotional, sad type vibe that you hear in his album right here. And the first song he starts off with is Together. That's the intro to it. And right there, he's just talking about trying to keep everything together in life. Because if you know, Trippie's been in a whole beef with a bunch of people. He's had many altercations. Has been in jail a few times. Been arrested a few times. And I think he's just trying to more of a cry out for help. Trying to keep everything together in this whole life of fame, because fame's not that easy if you really understand. I feel like he's just trying to. It's more of a cry for help, and I think that's a great way to start off the whole album, and it really goes on with the whole Life's a Trip type thing. So this whole album, I feel like it's really more sad, emotional than his other bodies of work. He doesn't have as much turned up songs, lit songs on there, or more trap songs like he did. He has other songs like Taking a Walk, produced by Scott Storch, who did a great job on that. It was a single, came out the day before the album actually dropped. And it really just talks about everything that's been going on, just like committing suicide, things of that nature. And it's really something that we haven't really heard from Trippie. We've heard deep things, but you don't really hear about suicide or anything like that coming from him. But in the way he puts it with his very distinct voice, it just comes out with a very, very great song. He has about 10 songs on here that are just like that. They're like very sad and emotional. Wish with a Diplo. That's one that already been out like a couple months before. Diplo had like 23 million views. Him and Trippie did a video on that, like I think about a month ago. But that song's pretty big. How You Feel, I think that was out before this. Came out I think a week before this. And then going after all the sad, emotional songs, we'll get into that. We'll get more of them a little bit later. He goes on to this more of a rapping type style, like that you saw in like A Love Letter to You 2 and Can You Rap Like Me, things like that, where he's actually just spitting lyricism. Because you see now, in this generation or music going out right now, you don't see really too many lyricists coming out. And I'm not saying Trippie's out here spitting Kendrick Lamar, Mick Jenkins, J. Cole type bars. But what I'm saying is, like, he still has a message behind his music that you won't see from counterparts that are his same age. He's still saying something in his music, has a little bit of value or a little bit of something behind it. You can go that way, like Missing My Idols, Uka Uka, that was already out. It was a really good song that came out, I think, 2 or 3 months ago. That song been out, but that's on this album. I don't understand why he put so many songs that have already been out on the album, but you see a bunch of people do that now, like Uzi and people like that put songs that have been on the album just for like make it more lengthy. And I don't know if it's for financial reasons or whatever, but he has 3 songs on there that have already been out, 3 or 4 maybe. Uka Uka, Dark Knight Domo, and one more. I Wish, that was already out, and How You Feel, I think was already out. But yeah, he's had 4 songs already out, but he still would have a 10-song album even taking out those 4 songs. So I don't understand why he really did it, but we don't really know. But yeah, songs like Uka Uka, Bird, Missing My Idols, all those songs, Oomp's Revenge, all those songs really just like a low little beat besides Uka Uka, but all the other songs just like a little low beat, him really just talking, really just spitting right there, and really just spitting some bars, decent bars right there. And after you getting all that, you know, he has this trap type music like the Bust Down, you see in the Love Letter to You, all things like that. And that goes in with a Bang, Shake It Up, things of that nature, and that just goes around with the whole album. But I feel like the way the album was made, or like it was like, you know, organized, you know, song by song, it's a good way to go because, you know, the way it's just made, you know, it's very versatile. You know, it's a very change of pace. You know, it starts off being very, very sad, and then he goes in speaking of, you know, some of the things of why, or like the nature of like missing my idols, like what's going on with people that he used to look up to, his role models he looked up to when he was young. And then you get into the best song of the album. I think it's the 5th song on this album. The best song on the album with Young Thug, Lil Reese LaFleur, and Trippie Redd, and that's Forever Ever. And that's, man, if you can only listen to one song on this album, you have to listen to that. The beat, the flow of it, the melody, the way Young Thug just comes into it, and then Trippie comes in with the verse, it's the best song on this album. And that's the song that's going to blow up for sure. That's the song that's going to blow up. I've heard people already talking about it, and this just dropped last night. So I know that's the song that's going to blow up from this album. If everything else flops, which I doubt it will, like 6ix9ine said, I don't think this thing's going to flop. It's going to sell about 60 to 90,000 streams, I bet. It's going to go about 60 to 90,000 sales, 60 to 90,000 streams, I think. I don't think it's going to hit in the 100 range. If it does, that's good. If it's in 100 range, this is a W for Trippie. But even if he hits 90,000, I still think that's pretty respectable. 60, yeah, you know. Well, it's respectable. It's not terrible, but 60 to 90 is, I think, what he's shooting for here. I think it's going to be about 60 to 90, like 75, probably about 75,000 streams. To compare that, Post Malone had about 400,000. X had about 180,000. J. Cole about 300, 400,000. Drake had about 700,000. Travis Scott about 400,000. Who's YG probably had, I think YG had like 50,000 or something like that. So yeah, that's to compare, you know. So I think it's gonna be about that. But Forever Ever is gonna be pretty. It's gonna be a big song on here. Going through the whole list of the all thing last night. The one thing that I saw that was really just like ended off the thing perfectly was the outro. It was Underwater. Let's see. It was Underwater Fly Zone, and that just ended out the whole thing. And it was crazy though, because the way he ended, you know, most people they have the intro, but then the outro is nothing like it. You know, it's like a come up story or anything like that. He was still in the same sunken place that he was in from the intro. You know, he was still in the same sunken place. Now, same thing in the outro. You know, it was still sad, you know, a very, very melodic song type thing. Very, very sad emo type thing. Juice WRLD, a Lil Peep type song, and that's how he ended it. Same way he started it. You know, I guess the way he started it wasn't that sad. You know, so much about keeping it together. But the outro was like still sad and very gory. And yeah, that's how he ended the whole thing. So I guess he's still dealing with those demons that he was when he first began the song, which was a little sad to see, but it was still the visionary and the artwork to this whole thing. It was pretty cool to see it like that, you know, just like a whole project, the whole album, really being a whole album, you know what I'm saying? Not like 8 or 9 songs, but like the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that Trippie really showed his versatility here, but he's been doing that since he came out, you know, with everything that he's came out with, you know. So I feel like he showed his versatility. He really he showed all, you know, he really showed every single type of genre he makes, you know, the whole sad thing, the whole rapping thing, and then the whole like lit turned up type thing. So I feel like he showed that here in this album. The artwork is very, very nice. I feel like just the whole thing just came together perfectly. Some songs on here weren't really too whatever, you know, it was just like some of the trap lit songs, they were just like had no value to them. You know, it was a little, you know, it was just really just a waste. Like, I really didn't like them too much. They were not the best. Some people say the only song they like was Forever Ever. But there's a couple songs on here that are some keepers, you know. So, yeah, some songs on here I feel like Missing My Idols, Taking a Walk that came out the night before. That's a pretty good song. Underwater Fly Zone's decent. Revenge is like a Can You Rap Like Me type thing, just him there rapping. So he has some pretty decent song. Wish, I'm not gonna count that because it already came out. But even with the songs that were already out, and plus songs that he just created on this album, the whole thing came together pretty nicely. I give this album like a 7, 7.5. If I was rating it, you know, a couple type album fillers type songs on there. But he has some pretty decent like core songs that just keep the whole album together, keep the whole thing intact. But just a whole visionary works that he had here with this whole sad thing, and just like how the vision he had about the whole album list, how he put that together. That's why it's a 7, 7.5, because just how high that was. The music quality is not bad. The lyricism's nice for somebody from this new generation of music that really doesn't have too much lyricism, like when you have like the Playboy Cardis, everybody like that. The way he actually talks about something, it's pretty good, pretty nice how he does that. So, yeah, that's why I feel like that Trippie's gonna be successful. I don't think, people say he's falling off a little bit. I don't think Trippie has really fallen off. I just don't think he's putting out music lately. So I think you haven't heard from him. I think, but I don't think he's falling off just because he haven't put out music. I feel like people who fell off is like Ugly God, A Boogie, people like that, PNB Rock maybe. Those people are falling off. I don't think Trippie's falling off. Trippie's more of a single type guy. And I feel like when he drops these singles and he has features on his songs, or he's featured on other people's songs, that's where he's gonna get. That's where he's gonna be relevant at. And I feel like that's where he's gonna that's where he's gonna succeed at, just getting people to listen to those. And I feel like that's where he's gonna get very, very popular at. But yeah, guys, that's it for this video. Tell me what you think about the album in the comment section. And it's your boy Jezreel. We're out.
Static Selector.